welcome our late arrivals, but very important arrivals. We have our defending national champion, Asher Hong. And at the other end, we have a very young man who still feels kind of like the old man, but he's the young man, he's the experienced man, Yul Moldauer, who is a 4-time national champion and a 2-time World Championships bronze medalist. And so guys, I'm gonna start with some questions for you that we got from our friends on the interwebs, Instagram. So for Asher, the question is, has your pacing been different this year compared to other years?
I mean, yeah, I'd say so. Olympic year, everything's a little bit earlier, as far as, champs being in, early May and trials being in end of June, so you don't get that 3-month gap where you can kind of lay off and rest. So everything's kind of condensed. But, I've been staying in the moment, just taking it day by day. I feel like that's been helping me, keep my pace pretty much the same, which, just been sticking to the training plan too. So, yeah, not too much.
And Yul, down there at the end, it feels like you have been at a really, really high level with your gymnastics going back to probably Winter Cup last year, like 2023. You've been just killing it. How are you doing right now, and how are you feeling coming into these championships?
I'm feeling good. It's definitely an important year, and I think everyone on the national team understands that, and that's kind of where I get my energy, is from the camps, from the competitions, and these young guys, everyone's pushing each other because we truly have this one goal to not just be on the podium, but someday be gold Olympic champions as a team. So it's just this energy on the team that's been helping me, and accountability and just everybody, so it's been fun.
And speaking of the team, before we open up for questions, this is for any of you. We were just at your last team camp out in Colorado Springs for Media Day, and the chemistry that you guys have as a team, I think people don't realize unless they actually see you at camp. Can you guys talk about, first of all, the chemistry, how you build it? Was it a conscious decision to have that really team sentiment? And I guess especially for you and Brody, who've been on a lot of teams, is it different with this team than other teams? That's a lot of questions in a run, and one would just kind of talk about that component.
I think what helps is we've all been through the NCAA, and when you're on the NCAA, it teaches you everything's about the team. And we want to create that culture on the national team, and it's not like we didn't have it before, but I think it's really emphasized now with everyone going through the NCAA. And at the end of the day, we all respect each other. We're in a sport that has no off season. We're in the gym 6 to 7 hours a day, diet, sleep, everything. So we understand what everyone's going through, and I think it's that correlation of relating to one another and getting to know each other outside of just gymnastics. And I think that just shows in our friendships and our chemistry, and definitely out in the competitions recently. It's just been one unit, which has been awesome. And I think these young guys coming in, they see that and they want to buy into it. So it's just creating this culture that we want to keep on the national team.
All right, we'll open it up for questions.
I guess I'll add one thing. I think this is big, and what's helped me get a lot better is I feel like all of us have no ego when it comes to always trying to get better. So we're at camps, and it doesn't matter what your turn looks like. Someone will come up to you and give you a correction, and we don't take it personally. We know we all have the same goal of getting to the next level. And everybody at this table has helped me with gymnastics in some way, and that's made us a lot better. So, yeah.
All right, questions from the audience? Yep, go ahead.
Okay, I saw Khoi and Asher doing this. I may have just been overwhelmed. Y'all three totally could have done it too, and I could have missed it. But towards the end of podium training, I saw y'all walking around and going, saying where you want your hands and doing all of that. Can you tell me why you think running through the routines, even if you're not on the apparatus, can help you be successful?
Yeah, I can talk about that. So we do a lot of visualizations, primarily before competition. And surprisingly enough, when you're going through a routine, I've heard a lot of gymnasts say this, it may not be universal, but when you're competing, you're almost in autopilot. There's not a whole lot of thinking once you put in all the numbers in the gym. Once you salute that hand, it's basically, are you ready or not? And your body just does what it needs to do. So going through the visualizations and where you're gonna face, where the judges, it really removes a lot of variables so that when you do salute, you don't have to worry about anything but doing your routine. So it's really helping you build that autopilot, build that routine in your mind.
Yeah, I think for me, the visualization is like hitting those cues. We call them cues. And so there are a lot of things you can be thinking about before the routine. And there are a lot of things, like each skill has a lot of components, right? But when you visualize, for me, at least for me, I like to think about like at least 2 or 3 things for each skill. So I can just focus on hitting those specific things. And then it'll help me like, simplify the routine for me, like in my head and during the competition. So I think it's very valuable.
Patricia.
Asher, obviously you had a great NCAAs, but correct me if I'm wrong, you didn't do all around, correct? Yeah, so how are you feeling and what has that been like to hopefully get back to do all around and defend your title this week?
Yeah, I mean, I was struggling with some back issues for NCAA, so and thank God I had a lot of teammates who could help me out and replace me on the events, yeah, I'm feeling good. The back is feeling a lot better. I got like the rest I needed at NCAA's, and yeah, just been taking it day by day in the gym, and I'm super excited. I don't know what this week holds, but I'm definitely gonna do my best and try my best to, I guess, defend my title.
Scott.
Brody, when did you get cleared on the floor and vaulting? What is the process been like getting cleared on those 2?
When did I get cleared? That's a great question. I would have to go back. I would say probably like beginning of the year, I was able to really start progressing back on tumble track and rod floor. And I would say probably about 2.5 months ago, I started my progression. Again, I would have to look back at the dates, I don't know exactly, but I started my progression on actual floor. And I mean, it was a hard process for sure. I mean, going from tumble track, which is super soft and bouncy, to floor, which is a lot harder, and it was just a lot harder on my knee. And there was a lot of just kind of like figuring out what my leg could handle, like how many turns could I take before I needed to stop, and that constantly changed day by day. So learned a lot about my body in that aspect, and then just trying to fit what I needed to get in to make sure that I was confident and progressing to build my floor routine back within those parameters of I can only take this many turns before I need to stop. So I have to make sure that all of my turns were quality turns. There's no throwaway turns. There's absolutely no room for that. So I mean, it was a hard process, but my leg's feeling a lot better now, and I mean, I'm feeling ready to go.
Chris and then Jessica.
For Yul and Fred, maybe the beginning of the squad and this program going up, emphasis on difficulty and bonus systems that were really back as they catch up with time in Japan. At the end of the quad now, how do you feel like you've done in that area?
I'm going to repeat because we're on Instagram Live. So the question is that the men's program, we've put like a bonus structure in place to get higher degree of difficulty so we can compete with China and others. How do you feel that has worked as we head into the Olympic year?
I think it's definitely worked. I think it's honestly one of the best things that we've done, and I'm excited to see what we do for the next quad. But I mean, just looking at the gymnastics, there are a lot of good guys in this country, and I think it's anyone's game. And I think the bonus system definitely encouraged that. And looking at it, we're like almost there. Like we just need one more pinch, and we're right there with every other country. I mean, going back to Worlds, you think Japan and China are untouchable, but when you rotate with them and you're looking at them in the eyes when they're chalking up, they're human too, they make mistakes. So I think if we can get our difficulty up, but also bring our mental strength to them, we're as strong as any other team.
Yeah, I would say we're not really lacking too much in difficulty anymore. If you really look at the numbers, I think we've bridged a big gap over the last 4 years, and it's made a big difference knowing you enter the meet and not hoping for them to make a mistake and thinking you have to be perfect, but like we're now close enough where it's not that game anymore. And also to give like an example of how it like helped a lot, which is funny for me to think about. 2 years ago at US Championships, my first senior US Championships, a skill on my high bar routine called a casino, the hardest skill I do, it's a G. I first caught that skill 2 weeks before US Championships. And there was a bonus system in place where I gained a point by doing it. So it's like if I fall, it'd be equal, like it's worth it. Competed it both days, caught it both days, never left my routine since, and it's made my high bar way better. So it's examples like that where we really can push the envelope at times like that earlier in the quad, and it shows now.
Shout out to Brett McClure and Jason Woodnick from our MEDS program, who were the brain, I guess the geniuses behind that idea. Jessica.
So for Brody Malone on the first time he landed a high bar was not on bar and what that felt like with your injury. And it's just stagnant this year. So talking about this injury
Did you say when it was?
yeah.
The day I posted it was the day I did it. And it was, I mean, I had done so many on hard, we had hard mats in our pit, so it really didn't make a difference in my brain. It was more just the fact that I was actually doing it on hard. But I mean, it was definitely a milestone. I was super excited when I did it. And then what was the other part? Yeah, he's talked to me about it a little bit. I mean, just told me basically to, keep pushing and try to get back to full strength, so.
Okay, I'm going to ask one question of Khoi, then I'm going to ask one question of everyone, and we'll break down into one-on-ones. So this question is from Jim Nerdbeth, who should be a journalist because it's an excellent question. What experiences or lessons have you gotten from the World Championships that you'll be taking into this elite and Olympic season? That's for you, Khoi. No pressure.
What to choose from? I feel like I learned so much from Worlds. I think one of the biggest things that I knew prior to Worlds, but I really settled in, was like stay in it. Because team competition, I had that mess up on horse. And even though I knew that we had 4 more events to go, and we were a great team, we had potential, in that moment it was a really tough thing to go through because it felt like I didn't live up to what I could do for the team. But knowing I still had 2 more events to show up for the team, I had to turn around and have a short memory and bring that back and still show up for my team, and I did, and help us come up with the bronze medal. And I think that I can apply that to the elite season. Anything that goes on tomorrow is just tomorrow. There's still Saturday. So just being in it to the very end, every routine counts, every 10th counts, every 10th of deduction counts. So just staying in it to the end is one of the main things that I learned.
We'll finish with a fun question for everyone before we break it down into one-on-ones. We're going to start with the 3 guys who got here first, so you guys have time to think. And the question will start with you, Fred. If we were to do walkout songs tomorrow, what is your walkout song?
Yeah, through this Kendrick and Drake beef that was going on in this world, it let me take a deeper dive into more of their music. But I found the song is "Count Me Out" by Kendrick. Had nothing to do with the beef, but it's a banger and it gets me hyped for it. That's
No comment.
I can't
No
reveal
comment.
that, in case I meet either one of them one day, maybe. I don't want them to hate me, Shit.
All right, Brody Malone, walkout song.
Back in Black by AC/DC.
All right, old school. And how about for you, Khoi?
Purple Rain by Prince.
But that walkout song would go like for 5 minutes of guitar playing. That's awesome. All right, Yul or Asher, who wants to go first? Who's ready? Yul?
I have the tiger.
Your mother thanks you for that selection. And Asher?
Am I getting the title right? Father, Stretch My Hands, Kanye West? Yeah.
All right, good deal. Thanks, guys. We'll get a quick photo of all you guys together, and we'll break down to one-on-ones. Brett and Jason are both here in case you have any questions for them for about 10 minutes. Yes, stand up for the photo, please. And we'll get going with our next press conference at about 2:35, 2:40, just a little bit behind.